the fourth game in 10 days, and you see really the spirit and how they deal with setbacks are really good.
There is very positive signs, that we're going in the right direction. I think you're starting to see more and more of what the manager wants, and we're bringing that onto the pitch.
I think in the end it feels like a loss. Obviously it was a draw, which I think after the first 30 minutes when they dominated, we would have took a draw. So I think overall it's a fair result, but in the end it does feel like a loss.
It seemed to have an immediate effect, changing the shape and bringing Kovacic on.
Yeah, I just felt we needed an extra body in there just to help us try to control that area of the pitch. It wasn't from a lack of trying at all in the first period of the game. It was just, we needed to adjust there. Manchester United played well as well. So I think it probably helped us. And then the boys, like I said, gave everything throughout the game. And when you score as late as you do, there's a feeling that you've dropped points. But in the end, probably over the course of the game, a point's about right.
Honours even, thrilling finale, and quite the tactical battle, Danny.
It was indeed. Two intelligent managers going head-to-head, making adjustments. United started brilliantly well. They're playing good stuff at the moment. They played the three in midfield against Chelsea's two. You can see the two in there. And then you've got Fernandes, Eriksen and Casemiro. And they just kept outnumbering them. They're intelligent players. They kept finding the spare one and getting out onto the Chelsea back five. And they should have been ahead earlier in the game, Manchester United, with the chances there. Again, Fernandes picking up the ball in that hole. Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek didn't know what to do. Sancho there, just risk it. Put it across with your left foot. You've got Rashford in on the back post. Doesn't quite happen for them. And again here, you can see the close proximity of the United three. There's the Chelsea two, and they just couldn't cope with them. But what do good managers do? They react and they admit they've made a mistake. Better touch from Rashford there. He probably just over touches it and takes away the chance. He brings on Kovacic, recognises the mistake, goes to a back four, puts Chilwell at left back, takes Cucurella off and puts a diamond in the middle of the park, puts Mount on Casemiro, tries to overload the middle of the pitch. And straight away, Chelsea got a foothold in the game. They managed to get higher up the pitch and dominate possession. It was a really, really clever way of quickly getting them back in the game. And the only question maybe is why he didn't. Yeah. And again, winning the ball back higher up. Mount more in the central where he can be more influential, and a little better pass there from Sterling. He could have got in. Just to say on Ten Hag, actually, he did react early in the second half to that, put Fred on for Sancho, which evened up the game, and a draw was about right.
Yeah, probably was. Ten Hag talked about the resilience of Casemiro. I mean, he's made a real difference for them.
Absolute class. I think it's a player that they've been missing for years. Conducts everything in that midfield. The real sort of defensive brain of the team, and he can pass as well. This is a wonderful ping out here, teasing ball. He's able to do this whenever he gets it. Never ruffled, sniffs out danger, senses things really well, he anticipates. And if you give it to him in a tricky situation, look, he can find a pass. Look, just this one here just whips that one out to the wing. He really is important. But look at his anticipation here. Look, gambles, sneaks and wins it, and then he sets them on the way. And this really should have been a goal there. Rashford's touch let him down just a little bit. I just love the way that he gets in front and been perfect. Obviously, I've had lots of over the years, midfield players, but you see people doing that in front of you. It's brilliant because his positioning is first class.
It's
always
really
in the
good.
right place.
It's really good
for his team. And really then, when they need him most as well, he comes to the fore, takes responsibility. That is a wonderful header there, his first goal for United. Look what it means to him.
Yeah. He's not known for his heading and scoring goals.
He brought a bit of Real Madrid to the side there, didn't it? That last-ditch goal.
He's a class act, and he knows exactly what he's good at and what his strengths are. And as Martin said, the reassurance he gives others around him is so evident when you watch United play now.
Yeah, it was a good game, a really interesting game of football, wasn't it? Martin, Danny, thank you very much. We're nearly out of time, but before we go, let's have a look at the Premier League table. Manchester City moved to within 1 point of leaders Arsenal, who face Southampton on Sunday. Liverpool have already surpassed the number of league defeats they suffered in the whole of last season and remain 11 points adrift of top spot. Nottingham Forest's first win since the 14th of August lifts them off the foot of the table. Everton's return to form helps them rise up to 11th.
And what he got was a draw, and these two have now made 26 of those in Premier League history, the most drawn fixture we've seen in the Premier League era. Was that about right today for you, yeah?
I think so, yeah. Well, United was the better team the first half. We said that already. You know, they created a couple of opportunities, what we've seen as well. After that, I think after 30, 35 minutes, when they made the sub, Chelsea, they got a little bit more back into the game, you know, created, well, not a lot of chances, but made it more difficult for United to play out. Second half, it was, as we say, like more of an open game, you know, you're going back and forwards without creating opportunities, hard-working teams. And then Chelsea goes ahead, you know, because of this penalty, but Chelsea wasn't the better team, of course. And then United comes back in and equalises, which is, I think, fair enough. They didn't deserve to lose, United. And if you look at opportunities, yeah, then you can say United was well deserved more out of it. But overall, if you're looking at that game, then I'm thinking 1-1 is fair enough.
Having said that, from a Chelsea point of view, when you're 1-up with 6 minutes to go, disappointment they couldn't close that out.
Yeah, I would say I think so also, because probably they were thinking the game was over. And but you know, when you play teams like United, there's never it's never finished until the end. And as I said before, fair enough to say that they deserve to get the point.
From a United point of view, when you're 1 down away from home at one of the big 6, is that a positive that you take something out of the game late on?
Yeah, that's fair. I think going away to these grounds, you said to the big teams, getting a point late on when you're obviously with not long left, 3 or 4 minutes left. I think they deserved it. I think over the whole game, I think they deserved to win the game. Really, if you look at the chances, the dominance in the first half, you know, really not taking chances was a problem. And I never felt worried by Chelsea. You think of the attacking quality that they got with Mount, Aubameyang, Sterling. I never felt they were really in the game. I can't really remember them creating a chance between themselves or missing a chance. I thought it was a pretty dominant display overall by United.
But that's what I can say about Chelsea right now. I think Graham, when he came, I think he's made the team better defensively. We are conceding less, and we are solid. We can see that. But going forward, I would think there's still a lot of work to do. The team sometimes is not as fluid and flawless as it was before.
The way they obviously got the goal was through the penalty. If you were his manager, what would you say to Scott McTominay after this, Jaap?
Well, I think you bring him on because to make a difference, you know, and then after a couple of minutes when he comes on, and you see this happening, then well, you must be angry as a manager as well, especially if you look back at the situation. You know, players are doing it like this, defending like this, in set pieces, and then afterwards they're saying, yeah, I didn't touch him, basically, while he's grabbing him like he's playing rugby, and he's making this foul. And, you know, so you need to be aware, and your positioning in defending corner kicks or strikers in the box with corners is, yeah, it needs to be right. You need to be not like behind the player. You need to be like a little bit in front of him as well, so you can see the ball coming, but you also know where he's going to go, so you can anticipate through the situation. His positioning wasn't right as well, and that's why he needs to grab him, because he gets away from him, and he's making this foul, and then it becomes like, well, expensive if you concede a goal, and then you need to get back into the game. So, and then when you then equalise, you can say, yeah, okay, it's fair that you then eventually equalise, and that's these are small things that even young players need to learn as well. Because if you want to go to a certain level, you want to reach the top 4, or you want to win the league, then you don't need to make these mistakes.
And you've only been on 4 minutes, Scott McTominay.
The manager might have wished he refused to come on.
Not 2 in a week.
That would have been the better one. This would have been the better one. Look, it's crazy. And as I said, with VAR around, you just can't do anything. It's you know, he's got a hold of him, and you know, some time ago, as I said before, when we were playing, you get away with that. You could do whatever you want. You could grapple, and referees would never give anything. But to do it right in front of the referee, and as I said, timing of it as well was poor.
But how can
do you defend and get your body shape right?
Yeah, but how can you defend like a corner as well? We're not looking at the ball even.
Exactly.
Because he's just looking at his player.
We have to look at both.
And he's not looking at where the ball is being taken. And then when the player is reacting, you need to react by grabbing him, basically. Otherwise, he gets in front of you, he gets away from you.
But it was interesting what you were saying, Jaap. It's, me as a striker, I want to get in front of you in a corner, in a cross from that direction. I want to get in front of you. And you, as a defender, you have to have a position in which you don't allow me to get in front of you. That was correct.
Because if the striker is making the movement also to go in front, so if you were making the movement to go in front and he wasn't going to go to the back, you can always block him with your arm. It's not holding him. You can always block him a little bit.
He's so concerned with grabbing hold of the lad rather than being in the right position. You don't have to be that aggressive towards him. You don't have to touch him as long as you're in the right position, a yard of him. So that's the space he's got to run to. So he just runs into you, and that's when you block him. That's when you use your body. So you just got a little bit carried away with getting body to body, and obviously you just can't do that these days.
Would that striker have got ahead of that defender, do you think, Paul, in that situation?
I might have gone under him or through his legs or something. I'm not sure. But to be fair, he'd have been taking the corner. He wouldn't have been trying to get across it.
He might have been taking the penalty. You've worked with Jorginho, 19 from 22 in the Premier League. What about this technique and the consistency he has from the spot?
No, it's very good. First of all, in order to take penalties like this, you have to be really cool, because you have to wait for the goalkeeper to move, and then, choose your angle. You really need to be in control of your emotions. I think the problem for him comes when the goalkeeper doesn't move. He stays until the end. It doesn't happen often, but when he does, it can be a problem.
Some record, that, isn't it? We've seen some great penalty takers in the Premier League era, but his record is right up there.
Yeah, it's brilliant. As Franco said, it's so brave. I remember when we were playing in training, there was a couple of players who used to do it. Just they're actually walking up and just staring at the keeper and just staring at his eyes, and then just tap the ball in whichever way he goes. It's so brave. I couldn't. Well, I'm not going to give you advice on penalty taking, because I was not very good. Me either. Yeah.
Mine's still in outer space when I took it in 2000.
Still going.
I wasn't going to bring up Amsterdam 2000, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Good to know you got over it. Yeah.
Because I knew you were going to go back to.
No. Let's get to the header, because United kept going. 94th minute. Casemiro was brought in to do a different job, obviously, but he has got this in his locker.
Yeah, he can finish it. At Madrid, sometimes he gets into the box as well. Against Everton, he did it. He missed. Now, great timing, great header. It's difficult from that position, being in the air and then bringing that ball all the way back again to the other post, and then goalkeeper tries to save it, but couldn't get his fingers around it, and then he goes in. So a very good header, a very important one as well.
Delivery as well.
Yeah, great delivery from Luke Shaw. I think he was on his hands and knees just before that ball came to him. He looked really tired towards the end of the game, but yeah, fantastic delivery. Really good header. Just the more I watch this, I do question the goalkeeper a little bit. No, it's not right in the corner. Oh, God, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think if Mendy's in goal, but I think he saves that just purely by the size of him. I'm not sure what Franco thinks about that.
We're going to find out, because I'm going to ask him.
No, to be honest, he's made nearly a miracle, because it wasn't easy to get that. The header was fantastic. On the opposite side, he was moving to the near post, and then he had to change the direction. And you were saying before that normally on that post you go with his arm, but if you go with his arm, you cannot push as much as if you try to reach with the opposite arm. That's the reason why the goalkeepers do that. And I think, he's done enough to touch it. Unfortunately for us, it wasn't enough.
So that's a positive for United, as is one defeat in 9. Blemish for the day was Rafael Varane going off in the second half in quite a distressed and emotional manner, Yap, as well.
Yeah, and we or I am wondering why that is. Is he thinking because he felt probably something somewhere? Is it his knee? Is it his hamstring? He keeps, he goes down and he stays there, becoming very emotional afterwards as well, going off the pitch. I don't understand why, of course, he's showing this emotion. Is it because maybe he feels the injury, that is very serious, and maybe he's missing out on the World Cup? Maybe that's it, or maybe other things, I don't know. Players go to him as well, support him, but Well, I've never been in this situation, so I find it very, very hard to think about why it is, why you're so emotional as a player.
He must know he's done something really bad and he's going to be out for a while. That's the only thing I think of. You don't really see players, centre-halves especially, getting that emotional. And as we said before, he's going to be a big miss because he's the one central defender who could defend one-on-one. They don't have another one really, so replacing him, getting him back as quick as he possibly can will be a huge benefit. Talking
of missing, Erik Ten Hag was still asked about Cristiano Ronaldo after the game, again. Do you see him back in the squad straight away? next weekend? What would you like to see happen here with this situation?
I have the feeling that's my feeling that with this happening, that Erik is thinking as well a little bit further ahead in terms of using other players. Well, he already used other players more than Ronaldo, of course, but now even more, because something like this stays in the back of your head, doesn't it? If it happens, and and not like it's fair to do so, but it's the whole situation that's been going on between United and Ronaldo. Is it the manager and Ronaldo, the choices that the manager made? Him not playing, he wants to play. We all know that if he stayed at the club in the beginning of this season, that he wants to play, and I think that's normal, because that's how he is. He's up at top. He's professional. He wants to score goals. He wants to play. If he's not being used, he doesn't feel part probably of the team. Is not being happy, which is normal as well, because I think at this level, you need to be a player that wants to play every game, wants to make every minute. And with this happening, walking off the pitch, not wanting to come on, you're creating a little bit more within the club probably as well. And
do you think if he apologises, he'll let him back in?
Well, probably he let him back into the squad, because maybe he's thinking that he needs him, but and other players want him as well. But is that enough? After doing so, if a manager tells you what you need to come on, or you're a manager and one of your players is saying you want to bring him on, and he's saying no, I'm not going to come on, and he's walking off the pitch, he goes into the dressing room and goes home. You're thinking as a manager, well, next time I'm gonna use you and bring you on in front of other young players maybe who are like working also very hard. And maybe not having this quality of Ronaldo, but
I think a lot depends on if he apologizes first. That will be the first step, and then his attitude when he goes back in training. If he goes back in training with the right attitude and he wants to gain his position in the right way, I think everyone will appreciate, and I'm sure he will have his chances again.
I don't think his attitude will be a problem. He's, we know what he's like as a professional. I know he released a little bit of a statement yesterday. It wasn't an apology, more of a statement saying he got things wrong. And I think if he apologises, he'll be back in. I feel sorry for the last few United managers, really. They've always had a big player in the background that's always had a bit of an enigma with him. You think of Pogba for so many years, there was always a problem there. He's come in now, he's got the problem of Ronaldo always in the background, and it's distracting from his team and what he wants to do. The big problem he also has, he's still United's best finisher. So at times he's going to have to play. You think if he's coming on that game today, last 20 minutes, and they're getting the ball in the box, small pitch at Chelsea, I think could suit him. There wouldn't be as much running to get around the pitch. He will still be handed for them to get points. And there's Europa League as well, where he wants to rest players, he wants to rest Marcus Rashford, he won't want him to play every game. And that's ideal for Cristiano. I don't know whether Cristiano settles for that role. He's got no choice. If he wants to play for United and have a part or a role in United, as Jaap said, at the start of the season, this role should have been defined, and then it was up to Cristiano whether he stayed or went. Now, it's the same situation. He will have to accept playing not in the big games, possibly last 20 minutes in big games, but in probably these Europa League games. He's got to accept that. At 37, 38 years of age, a lot of us would accept it. He won't. He believes he should be playing.
How difficult is that when you've been such a good player to do what Paul's saying, Gianfranco? I mean, I know you were a substitute and used a handful of times, shall we say it?
It's not easy, because obviously when you are such a big player, don't forget we are talking about one of the best players ever, one of the best strikers ever. So, and the reason why he's one of the best strikers ever is because also his personality, his character, the way he handles things, the way he takes things. He is very competitive. He wants to play all the time. I can understand that. If you are not that, you don't play until you are 37, 38. Probably is one of the fuels that is got inside. So you have to be respectful for that. But having said that, he also has to understand that there is a team and there is a club, and nobody can be bigger than the club. So this is something that I'm sure Cristiano will consider, and
it's going to be, I still, because you keep thinking about it, but it's difficult for him because he is Ronaldo, he is his personality, and he acts how he wants as well, because he thinks he needs to do so as well, because it's in his right probably as well, because in how he is as a player as well. But does he then now need to go into the club and make apologies and everything, and then, you know, as long as he stays there, he needs to change his personality as well for everybody.
I'm not sure that apology's coming though. I don't know.
Well, no,
I'm not sure.
I'm not, but it's always something that stays there, you know, because probably a new manager comes in, he doesn't know him as well. He's working with him for only like a couple of months.
Yes, to remember the young players he's got in the squad who look up to him. A lot of them young players, he's their hero.
Yeah.
So to see him then walking off, I think he'll come. I think he might apologise. I won't put money on it, but I've got a feeling he might apologise.
I think
he'll realise 2 or 3 nights sleep. You think that's wrong. That's not the Chris. That's not the way I want to be remembered at this club, and not remembered by all the kids who are going to watch him, the kids who worship him, who are playing with him. Look, I hope he does, and I hope he.
No, we all do, because we all like him very much as a player from the beginning of the season. We all, and maybe if we were managers of United, we would have said we play him more often than what happened now. But the manager, of course, is making certain decisions now, and of course, okay, when did he take him off last week as well? Then the reaction of him as well, you know, and that of course doesn't give people the expression as well that he's really into it, whatever, or he's been appreciated by the manager as well, you know, so that doesn't work for him as well. So it's a difficult situation, but hopefully he still can be very important for the club, for United, for the team, to help the team, you know, to go to a certain level, and that's what we're all thinking about. But it's becoming a very difficult situation, I think, for him, but also for the club.